hello one and all, and welcome back once again to the wonderful, subjectively, world of Goonies World. I am Meanie, also known as Ryan, and joining me, as always, is Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean.
Hey.
And Goonie himself, of course, couldn't be Goonies World Plot Goonie, also known as Colin.
Hello there.
And once again, joining us in our top men adventure is our top woman, Lunicorn, also known as Lynn.
Hello, and it is a wonderful podcast. It's not subjective at all, it's fact.
It is objectively badass.
Yeah. That's right.
You know who else is badass? The top men. Who? Top men. And we're going to play our third installment of our Top Men series. Tonight we are using Fudge system, the original one by Stephen O'Sullivan, and a very simple version of that. Anyway, to quickly recap, our top men went to 1950s Istanbul seeking the tomb of Theodosius II, looking for a clue to the location of the lost tomb of Alexander the Great, so they can find it before the Soviets do. And after tangling with local thugs hired by the renegade Belgian archaeologist Jan Danville, they found Theodosius' tomb, only to learn it had already been looted by the former Nazi ambassador to Turkey, Baron von Papen. So after some shenanigans at the German consulate in Istanbul, you learned that Baron von Papen's looting must have been unauthorized because there were no records of it. And you've got his whole file, but when he was recalled to Germany in 1944, all of his stuff, in fact a whole train carload of it, was shipped back to his castle in Ludwigsfelde, south of Berlin. And I believe that Agent 13 reached out to her contact, Hans von Bischuisch, who forged you guys documents so you could cross the Iron Curtain by train. And I believe you're posing as cobblers and podiatrists, and
the wife of a podiatrist.
Mrs. Foot. And currently, you're rocketing through the Stranza Mountains region of Bulgaria on an East German Humboldt train. And you're barely past the papers check when the Stasi came through the train, because East Germany runs this whole line. Again, it goes to Bucharest in Romania, and then Belgrade, and what's now, during the game, is Yugoslavia, and then Vienna, and then Berlin. But all of this is in, communist countries. But you passed the papers check with the Stasi. But right when we stopped, you'd noticed two sinister figures at the rear of the observation car where you were all hanging out. And one of them was a white guy in a white suit with a red hair and a red mustache, chain smoking. And the other guy, and you recognized him as the homeless guy who'd been hanging out outside the embassy. Really, you've been followed a lot so far. And there was another guy with a chin beard and some sunglasses. The Stasi has just left the observation car, and now you're sitting here looking out at the beautiful mountains, and it is afternoon, and the rays of light are slanting down upon them. It's quite beautiful for such a troubled part of the world. And there you are. The car is about half full because people just come up here to the observation deck, to stretch their legs and look at the scenery. But these two guys came in. You're sitting midway through the car. They're in the back. And that is the exit, is in the back. So you'd have to go down through them. This is actually up on top of another passenger car. So it doesn't have exits to front and back, just the back. You have to climb down this little windy stairway to get back onto the regular level of the trains. You'd have to pass these guys. And here they are, and here you are. And you know for a fact that that's the guy you saw. And that obviously you're being followed. But the Stasi aren't present at the moment, so I'll leave it to you guys to tell me what's going on.
So we all are in agreement that is the same homeless gentleman that we saw outside of the consulate.
Most definitely.
It definitely looks like him, but I don't know how we could afford to get on a train.
Well, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was
how you are recruited into the top men program because you just don't seem too bright to me sometimes. But I will lay it out for you. He's not really homeless. He's probably a spy for, well, it could be the Soviets. It could be our Belgian friend.
The Ruskies. Or the Belgians.
Well, we are in the belly of the beast right now. And I don't know if we should... he might not... Those two gentlemen might not know that we know that we're on to them. So... I don't think we should alert them.
Yeah, I agree with that. If they don't know that we know who they are, then we have the upper hand, right?
Yes. It's just a matter of what we want to do with these fellows. Now, I know we're not in the murdering business, but I do make exceptions for communists, because I see it as them as zombies, basically. Just the carriers of disease, and we have to stop the spread of the disease however means possible. And I think it's actually an act of mercy to put these rabid dogs down. But we should try to maybe sneakily confirm who they are. Maybe we can elicit some intel from them. But if they're good enough spies, they probably won't tell us much.
So I think you're right. But I had an idea that might be really dumb. Or it might be really brilliant. I'm
going to go with dumb, but let's hear it out.
Well, I was thinking, okay, so out of character, metagamingly, this is the 50s. Everybody fucking smokes everywhere all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about, somehow adulterating a cigarette with some kind of substance and offering it to, one of the guys. Like, hey, Mac, you want to smoke?
That's an idea.
Yeah. You do have those Nazi cigarettes.
They're stale as fuck, but... I wonder if I offered, if I adulterated, but then offered a Nazi cigarette. But they know who you are, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to buy some bullshit he's got Nazi cigarettes.
They definitely know who you are, for sure. Yeah. They just don't know that you know that they know.
Yeah.
But no, let's not do that bit.
Did you know that? I don't know. What do you think, 13?
Yes, wife.
Well,
actually, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to call you? Mrs. What? 13 is not going to really pass.
No, Elisa.
Elisa. Okay. Do you have? Okay. So you would take my last name then, Elisa Grant.
Elisa Grant.
All right.
Yes.
Meanwhile, these two guys shuffle around their newspapers every now and then, and the redheaded one keeps chain smoking. But other than that, they don't make any moves either.
Maybe we should do a direct but friendly confrontation. Maybe I should just go over there and sit with them.
Okay. You'd like to sit with them? Things could get a little dicey. I think we might want to back you up some there. But, yeah, because they know who we are, maybe you're right. Maybe the right thing to do is to directly confront them. Ask them who they're working for, and if things go south, well, then they go south.
That's right, and then we might be able to throw some people off of a train. I don't think I've ever done an assassination like that. That actually kind of sounds interesting.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Well, so what do you get up and head back to the back of the car? All right.
Yep.
Do you guys go with her, or do you stay seated for now?
Well, I kind of want. I kind of wanted to go over there
Right.
too, but I don't know if I want to go over there unless Mr. Smith is coming along. He's the muscles of this operation, so I would say, us feet people got to stick together.
Yeah, you feet people.
Yeah, I'll totally go. Yeah, of course I'll go.
All right. Well, you guys get up and you start heading towards the back of the car, and as nonchalantly as possible, but very hurriedly, the redheaded guy stands up, folds up his paper, puts it in his pocket. The other guy stands up and fake yawns and stretches, and they start trying to get out the back before you do. They're trying to avoid perhaps what you intend, or. So they get up and start walking towards the exit as they see you get up and walk towards the exit. But they'll get there way ahead of you.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Excuse us.
No, sorry. No German, sorry. 'Cause I assume you speak it German here on the train, the German. You guys were talking that. You guys were speaking it earlier to this stuff. He says no English.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
No, sprechen Sie Deutsch. Sorry. And he turns around and starts walking down the steps. The redheaded guy does. The chin beard with the sunglasses is still up here. And because only one person can get down his narrow-ass little circular, spiral stairway down onto the other car. He's still up here, though. He can't leave yet. And by that time, you guys could probably get right up to him.
Parlez-vous français, monsieur?
He gives you a cold look, but you go ahead and make a combat roll real quick. Not because he's doing anything, but to see if there's anything you notice about him in particular.
Well, my combat is great.
It sure
and
is.
I rolled nothing, plus and a minus for great.
That's great. You needed a good result to notice that, he's got something semi-bulky on him under the coat. He's concealing it well, but it's probably like a small SMG, small submachine gun under his coat. So he's definitely packing more heat than you've seen yet. And what is it?
Oh.
Why are you watching us?
I'm not watching you. I'm watching the scenery. The scenery is very beautiful here in Bulgaria.
Your friend. We've spotted him 3 times. We are not stupid. You know who we are, so you know we are not stupid, with possible exception of Mr. Smith.
Hey!
Well, no, I'm sorry. You have mistaken him for someone else. Now, if you will excuse me. And he turns around and starts to walk down the stairs. Do you let him?
Hold it there, mister. Don't go any further.
He ignores any words you might give him.
I'm going to put my hand on his shoulder.
Okay, the second you do that, he whips around and a blackjack materializes in his hand. And he's going to make a combat roll. But go ahead and make a defense roll, a combat roll for defense. He has a great result.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get knocked out or something. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I got a poor result.
And yeah, he gives you a wicked blow on the top of the head. But now it's on. So we're going to go ahead and roll initiative by making a combat roll. And you guys can see he actually doesn't get a very good one on this. He'll go on fair. But each of you guys roll, and then we'll go in the order.
I will go on good.
Okay.
Me as well.
I will go on fair.
And so, Mr. Smith, what do you do after sunglasses? We'll just call him Cosmo. After Cosmo has viciously battered Stu Grant on the head with a blackjack, just for touching him.
Well, you said he apparently had some kind of SMG on him, and
Yes,
that's better than any of the guns that I currently have. Of the 27 guns I have concealed around my person, that is a more rapid-fire solution than anything that Mr. Smith has, and he wants it, so he's going to go for it.
Okay, yeah, and you got 27 like +1 weapons scattered about your person, but
Talking about his dick?
no, but when he whips around, you actually can see it hanging there.
Seriously, didn't know what he was talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, when he whips around, you can see that machine gun hanging there. It's an Orita submachine gun, common in Eastern Europe, and relatively cheap and unreliable, but deadly nonetheless. And you can see that. So you could see that hanging there in his jacket. So, if I understand you correctly, you're just gonna reach in and grab it, right? That's what you're going for.
That was the intent.
He'll try to dodge out of the way. If you roll higher, then oh my god, he has a sub-terrible result.
I have a great result.
Oh my goodness! Well, see, you snatch it right out of the shoulder holster, that he's wearing it in. It's small enough that you can hold it in the shoulder holster, but it's a little bit bigger than like a modern day Uzi. But anyway, you got it in your hands at the end of your turn, and now the three of you are the three people left. Him, Cosmo, and Stu, and 13 are all going on fair. And so at this point, I'm going to go in order with the person who I think has got the most combat experience, which is him. And he tries to swing his blackjack and hit Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, can you make a defense roll? You would need to beat his good result in order to not get clocked. And then the other two can go.
Well, it was... I'm going to roll again. I'm pretty sure I hit it, but I got the exact same thing that I got last time, which was great, but I'm not sure if I actually hit it, so I'm just going to hit it again. Oh, well, it's even better. Superb.
All right, so you whoop your head out of the way, and the blackjack passes by harmlessly. Meanwhile, I think that 13 probably has a little more in-the-field combat experience than Stu, so what do you do?
I'm not going to do anything lethal at this point. So I think I'm going to hit him. This is the 1950s, so I imagine that flashlights were pretty darn hefty.
Yeah, it was a nice hefty flashlight.
And I'm going to try to hit him in the head with my flashlight.
All right, go for it. I'll try to make a defense roll. He has a good result this time for his defense.
I also have a good result.
Okay, so you guys struggle with no real resolution, but now it's like a kind of a clustery melee up there, right? And the crowding at the end of the car, and of course it was about half full. No one's interfering though. Everyone's gasping and standing up. One lady screams, and Stu Grant, Black Cavendish. What do you do?
Yeah, I picture him now just like his head is pouring out blood from that.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably got like a knot with blood running down the side of his head.
Big hematoma, yeah. And but I think I will try to pistol whip him on the head with my revolver.
All right. He's he rolled pretty good that time. He had a great roll for his defense.
Yeah, I only got
I wish you luck.
I only got a good.
Oh, it's too bad. Well, the vagaries of the dice. But before anything else can happen, that's essentially the bottom of the round. I think Mr. Smith could probably still act before this happened, but there are like angry voices and footsteps storming up the stairs now. Not, angry passengers. Probably Stasi. Probably the redheaded guy that got to the bottom of the stairs. People are... And there's a fight. And now there's noise. So you think Stasi's coming up these stairs right now. But you got about a second to do something if you wanted to do it first.
So we're in this is a 2-deck car.
Two-deck train car. You're in the rear of the car at the top of a shaft, which has a spiral staircase.
Yeah. Okay. But there is not, I assume, especially probably on this deck, like a door leading to another car. That would be on
No.
the lower. If there was one at all, it would be on the bottom.
There is one, and it's on the bottom.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
There's really two ways out. The windows, which can, in this day and age, can be wedged open with little, you could get out a window, I guess. Or you could go down the stairs, one of the two.
Climb on the roof.
We could put on a little bit of a show.
Yeah, or
I
talk
don't
your
know
way
if
out.
Yeah, I could burst into tears and begin caring for my poor husband that this ruffian has just assaulted and hit in the head several times. He's bleeding.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have time to plan anything really
I was just
or
about to say
discuss
that.
it.
Yeah.
But
Okay, well, I'll just do it.
so you just burst into tears, and I think Mr. Smith, as dumb as he may be, is smart enough to use that as a cue to, like, grab the guy and like try to just I don't know, like full Nelson him or something. Or
Like put him in a... Yeah, he'll try to whip his way out of your arms. He has a poor result, though.
Good.
Oh. Nice. You've got him momentarily in the... at least a half Nelson. His arms are like pinned up behind you. You twisted him around. He kind of... He starts to go limp, so he's dead weight hanging there. And just then, one Stasi agent, then a second one, they're just running one at a time. Boom, boom, boom. Upstairs, and before you guys know it, you're staring down 3, 4, then 5 Walther P-38s, and what is happening here? And then you burst into tears, right?
Yes, and I'm like looking at, Stu said these ruffians, they just attacked us. This man right here just attacked. He hit my husband in the head several times. They seemed to be going to a different car at the same time that we were going to a different car, and I don't know why that would provoke an attack, but apparently we have some ruffians and miscreants on board.
I just accidentally bumped his shoulder, and he responded in extreme violence, as you can see.
And I found this gun on him, and I throw the submachine gun at the Stasi, and he's obviously still wielding the blackjack.
Yeah, he's still got it in his hand. He certainly looks very guilty. However, we do not take half measures here. There will be questioning. There will be interrogations for everyone. You will come to the security car, which some people call the caboose. And they began leading you away, but then there's a voice. No, I think I can clear things up, says a terribly familiar voice. And they part and let someone out who's come up from the stairs, and then you recognize Jan Donville. He's very, very short. Like, not short enough to be a little person, but probably like Danny DeVito height. And he has a goatee and a fabulous mustache. He wears a monocle, and he's wearing a white suit and a white hat. And he goes, I believe I can vouch for these people, my good friends. You cause no more trouble there. Now we'll take him. And then as they're leading that guy out, though, as they're leading out Cosmo with chin beard, you see Jan Donville wink at him and give him like a reassuring gesture. And he goes, no, these are good friends of mine. I vouch for them completely. There's no more trouble here. Don't worry. Or shall I call someone in Moscow and discuss with them the conditions on this train? And he whispers something to the Stasi agent, who stiffens. And then the Stasi leave, and you're just left there with Jan Donville. You've only met once before when you guys both were going after the so-called Aladdin's ring. It was, my friends, I would hate to see you stymied in your investigations. After all, we are so very much alike, I cannot help but part of me root for you.
Well, you called us friends. I wouldn't exactly say that. And I believe I saw a little wink at your comrade, if I'm not mistaken.
Come, these are unimportant details. I believe we can talk for a bit. Perhaps you would join me for dinner in the dining car. My treat.
Yes,
Yes.
we could join you for dinner, but let's tend to my husband's wound
Of course. I'll have
before we do so.
we'll have the train's doctor take care of that immediately. And about 15 minutes later, and you're bandaged up, and you guys gather in the dining car. And they're serving. I took the liberty of ordering for you. Their dish tonight is roulade, it's pickles and bacon wrapped in slices of veal. It's excellent. I've had it before. You know, the dish originated in Belgium. And as you're having wine or coffee or whatever you have with your lunch, and he's very fastidious. You know, he lays out his napkin on his lap and wipes his hands in dips his fingers in a little cleansing bowl of water. Now, I admit I was most put out when you took Aladdin's ring out from under my nose. I don't suppose you were able to summon a genie with it.
They're working on.
You'll never
We're
know.
working on that.
I see. Well, I propose that rather than work against each other, we work together. My agents in Istanbul became overexcited. There's no need for violence in any of our discussions.
I'll never work for the communists. If that's who you work for.
Well, I would never tell the communists this, but I think they're a passing thing. What is the word you Americans use? A fad.
I don't share your optimism. I think, I do think it is our duty to fight this so-called fad.
They are just a means to an end for people like you and I. Alexander was the son of God, Zeus to be precise, or so his mother Olympias believed. And there's good evidence that Alexander himself believed this. During the siege of Tyre, he jumped by himself over the walls into the enemy city and fought for nearly 20 minutes without being wounded. No one ever saw him bleed. Demigods were all over the ancient world. Heracles, for one. This is something we call apotheosis, when a human becomes a god. So Alexander's tomb, when it is located, don't you see, could have the keys to not only eternal life, but think of it. All this talk about communism, we could all be enjoying ourselves long after the American eagle and the Soviet bear have ceased to be. What matters who gets Alexander's breastplate or grave goods? No, the real treasure of his tomb is to find out how man becomes God. Don't you see? And you see the fire of fanaticism, back in his eyes there just a little bit.
You have gone mad, I believe.
Mad am I? Sorry, I just always want to say that. Well, if we cannot work together, then certainly I believe we can avoid any future unpleasantness. I'm curious, however, why you are taking a train to Berlin? I have some friends who tell me that you've stolen a file from the consulate. Did our friend Baron von Papen loot Theodosius's tomb? Did you find it? Tell me that at least.
I cannot confirm nor deny this accusation.
So I'm beginning to get the feeling that we cannot deal together as colleagues.
No, I don't think it's possible. I think we've reached an impasse.
Well, I may be the intellectual inferior, or the intellectual superior of everyone here, but I cannot hope to beat Mr. Smith here physically. So I undertake not to provoke any further violence, and I would hope that you would do the same, at least for the rest of this train journey. But you make me very sad that we cannot work together. Perhaps we will meet again, or perhaps not.
Can you call off your goons?
Well, I would be foolish not to try to follow you. However, I undertake no violence in the future. As for goons, aren't you supposed to be top men? Surely you can deal with a few goons. And I bid you adieu.
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 And kiss the bride.
Yes. And he wipes each corner of his, he wipes his mouth, first one lip, then the other side of the lip with his little napkin, and he gets up and signals that the meal's on him, so you guys won't be charged. And he leaves. And the next few hours past that incident, Stasi do eyeball you a couple times. But after several hours, after dark, in fact, the train does reach Bucharest in Romania. And you actually look out the window, at that point, as you might do at the train station. It's pretty grim, I'll tell you that right now. It's covered with soot. But you see that you must not have that much more to worry about for the moment, because Jan Donville actually disembarks here. You see him with the red-headed guy, but not Cosmo, who maybe has been sacrificed. Maybe when he's winking at him, he's like, "Don't worry, we'll take care of this later," something. But point being, he's getting off here, so certainly not going to try to follow you around right now. And you know he's ruthless, though. He himself would not stoop to violence. But in his heart of hearts, he's fanatic enough that, as I believe you said last time, the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
And he seems to be a true believer on this Alexander was a god business. Now, I didn't specifically say so during our recap, but the whole reason you guys are even going to Berlin is because the Baron von Papen's castle near Ludwigsfelde is south of Berlin, and you were going to go try to retrieve Alexander's breastplate with its precious map of Alexandria that it is said to have on it. But pulling out of there, and your little red line goes across the map and goes into Yugoslavia all the way to Belgrade. Did you stop there and look for a doctor? Maybe one of you knows a doctor?
I mean, if we're going to rely on our contacts, I would think it would be in a time of emergency. Like, I don't want to use mine just for get some points back.
Yeah. And metagaming, I'll tell you, you get to make up the contact whenever and bring them in whenever, so definitely an emergency. Even if it seems like, hokey or, cheaty or whatever. You're dying of snake bite in the jungle, and just so happens your friend Ubuntu comes by, that type of thing. That's what they're meant to be. But, so we'll assume that your little red line on the map goes past Belgrade and Yugoslavia and on into Austria, to Vienna, and finally to Berlin. And now Berlin is still a lot of piles of rubble around, from the war. Of course, it's like that in London, and, the war was only 10, 12 years ago. But you pull into the Bahnhof Friedrichstrasse. It's this massive train station. And as you get out, Berlin's architecture is really imposing around the city center. All these great old Prussian medieval remnants that are intermixed with a few modern, hastily built Soviet-style blocky buildings. But there's also a lot of piles of rubble and vacant lots and danger signs and signs of all the destruction left over from World War II. And in the distance, it's actually the sound of bulldozers and jackhammers. You can hear over the sounds of the trains coming and going. And it looks like there's work crews set up in this great big long line across the city center. And you have no way of knowing this, but I mean, these are the precursors. They're building some barricades that are the precursors of the Berlin Wall. It won't be built till the early 60s, but they're marking that line out already. Berlin is a split city. Anyway, there's occasional bursts of machine gun fire you hear in the distance. Presumably as someone's caught trying to run out into West Berlin, because they're really locking this place down now. And, of course, Ludwigsfelde is outside of Berlin, south. It's just, so you'll have to get some kind of land transportation to do that. Now, any cab or bus might take you, but there are actually workers boarding some buses, and you see that one of the buses actually says Ludwigsfelde on it as its destination. But they're all obviously workers. They're wearing work clothes. They're carrying tool kits, and they're getting onto that bus.
I wonder if they're doing renovations or something on the castle. I'm not sure why workers would be going there.
Yeah, like a whole busload. There's also several multi-cars. I don't know if you've seen these little German multi-cars, like a tiny, it's kind of a little utility pickup truck, full of equipment. It's there too. They're obviously going there. No, I don't know if that's a free ride right there. If you can figure out a way to get on it, maybe.
We could try to pose as workers, but we don't know what they're working on. It'd be a tough sale, I think. But
those equipment trucks are like covered with tarps too, so that might be another option.
We could try to sneak onto one of those equipment trucks, just stowaway.
And I suggest that we be very sneaky in this and attempt to lose any tail that our friend Jan Donville might have on us.
Yes, we should all be very...
You did know you were going to Berlin, yeah.
Yeah, we should all...
could have wired ahead or something, yeah.
Be extra vigilant right now.
Well, what do you guys want to do? And, of course, you can also just hire a car, but...
Yeah, then we'd...
Isn't sneaking onto a truck
It's not as fun as sneaking onto a truck.
Yeah, it'd be more fun, and also if we hired someone, then that might get, back to somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you want to sneak onto one of the tarp-covered equipment trucks, you can. That would... now, it's very busy. There's people all around, but we do need a good result at least. And it could be an adventure roll or a combat roll to sneak and slip underneath one of the trucks. And get underneath the tarp anyway on the back. You're crammed in there with a bunch of machinery, but nevertheless.
All right.
So we need a good result for someone not to see you.
Ooh. Well, I happen to roll a legendary result.
Oh, man. Your friends don't even know where you went. You're in there and hard to find.
Unfortunately, I rolled a fair result.
I know. You with your great adventure. All right. How about you?
I know.
How about Mr. Smith?
Mr. Smith chose combat, since obviously that's better for him, and he got superb.
Okay, so you were laying there beneath the pile of equipment, or wedged in between the pile of equipment and the side of the little multi-car underneath the tarp. And just as you're walking up to it, I mean, you don't necessarily get caught red-handed, but as you're about to go in there, 13, you have a voice, papers, please. You turn around, there are two Stasi agents there.
Okay. I will show them my papers.
All right. They look at him. You got to roll for your friend's forgery again. Roll for Hans von Bischwich's forgery. Remember, he's great. He's great at it. But there are no slouches either.
Great result.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, they stare at it, narrow their eyes, look back and forth. So you're traveling alone? Where's the mister?
He went on ahead to secure our rooms.
Where will you be staying? Where will you be staying?
We will be staying to the south, he's I don't know the country very well myself. I'm just a woman, you know. I don't know much about anything. But I do believe that there is some wondrous castle, and we were going to go to the nearest town and try to secure lodgings there.
I see. Tourism, how quaint. Soon the days will come when the tourists will no longer be welcome. So,
Oh, my husband is a doctor.
enjoy looking at
He's
our
a podiatrist.
enjoy looking at our quaint castles while you can with your podiatrist.
I will, thank you.
And they go on about their way. And but during that conversation though, the trucks have started up and they've started to move.
Right.
So now you gotta kind of make a real adventure roll to run after that and jump, onto the back and slip under the tarp. Now that the motorcade is getting going.
Great.
Well, you have a
Well,
great
great.
result, and
Give
that's
it
what
that.
you need. And so finally, you're all there. And it's a long, bumpy ride, and the pieces of machinery, you don't know what they're for, keep bumping against you. But you actually look on, they probably have stamped Daimler-Benz on a few parts of the machinery. And some of you may know there was a big Daimler-Benz plant in Ludwigsfelde, but you heard it was bombed, during the war. Maybe they are going out there to rebuild it or get operations going again. But you move through, every now and then you peek out from under the tarp, and you move through suburbs and into a forested region. You pass some scenic villages of the old Brandenburg province that, gosh, they seem to remain almost untouched since medieval times. But when you finally get to the town of Ludwigsfelde, you can see the castle's, it's really not a medieval castle per se. You guess it's probably built in the 1880s or thereabouts. But you see that at the hilltop where they enter the town, and there's this huge construction site. And the motorcade you're in starts turning off and going to the construction site. So if you want to be near the castle, you better hop, drop, and roll out of this thing right now. Tuck and roll right now.
Tuck and roll,
Yeah.
tuck and roll.
And I'm this kind of adventurous, but this is a classic combat move, so I need a combat roll, but you just need a good to avoid a checkbox of injury.
Am I supposed to be...
Tuck and roll. All right. Mr. Smith makes it.
Great.
Because I was hurt, so do I have a -1 to that roll?
Oh, yeah, you do. It's just not for each checkbox. It's just a -1. Yeah.
Okay, so I would...
So
whatever I get, I would go one below that? Or
this category.
Yeah, so I'm hurt, and I rolled a poor, but so it would be terrible, I guess.
No, terrible. That is terrible. You're terrible as though you fall. Oh, you mark off another wound. So you're hurt pretty badly. Yeah. But
I just wasn't cut out for this kind of combat stuff, but I'll be all right.
yes, I think you should be all right. And we can talk about healing in a bit. But first things first. That castle, they call it a castle, and it looks like it's built on the site of maybe one or two ancient, or medieval castles, or at least ancient hill forts, because it just commands the whole valley. But it's still impressive, but it probably wasn't built till like about the 1880s or so. And it's dusk now, and so there's just nothing but some night insects, and you can get a look at it from the underbrush where you jumped and rolled off, and kind of get a sense of it. But there's a really large landscaped park all around the castle. There's actually a helicopter pad in the back with a Soviet milled Mi-1 helicopter on it. It's just like a utility helicopter. There's a large outbuilding nearby, and there's this sweet, somewhat bitter smell, but it's also really alcohol heavy. And you realize it's actually a distillery that's here on the site that's producing something, probably from potatoes, it smells like. And it seems like a residence. It's not like all, set up like a fortress or anything, but you do see several Stasi agents walking around in the landscaped yard. The castle itself, there's like a cupola on the roof with 4 open windows and a bell in there, almost like a bell tower. But you look like you could get in that way maybe. And then on each side of the castle, on the 3rd floor, on every single side, there's a big central balcony with double doors. There's lots of vines and trellises, and it looks like they might not be that hard to climb up to. And then in the landscape garden, there's actually like a water drainage tunnel that's like feeding the garden with water, runoff water, like brown water, probably from the castle itself. That'd be a tight squeeze, but you could crawl up that if you had to. So those are some of the ways you could get in or get close to the castle. And once you get closer, if you were to get through the landscape area, you could actually peek in some windows or something. But right now, that's what you see. And night is falling, so lights are starting to go on up on those balconies and that type of thing.
Well, we might want to just observe the route, the patterns of the Stasi doing their walk-arounds.
Yeah. You can watch them for a while, and you can see some windows, like windows of opportunity, where you can make short bursts, like halfway across the landscape gardens, and then hide behind the fountain, and then make another dash until you can get up pretty close. There looks to be about 1 Stasi guard on either side of the building itself, so maybe just 4 up there. Why there's Stasi guarding a private residence and why there's a helicopter here is a completely different question. Because it seems like nothing so much as the estate of a former noble family who's now become distillers, apparently. But so it's no trouble just keeping an eye on the guards and getting across the landscape park. That part's not too hard. And then they walk around a bit, but one of the guards, at least, if you want to get up close to the castle itself, you'll have to figure out a way to silence him.
Okay.
Silently silence him.
Yeah, I can't shoot him, obviously. So.
Well, I do have a neck stabby knife for just such occasions.
Yeah.
If you want to silence him permanently,
Yeah.
and we'll have to hide him and...
Yeah. Now, if you were able to make an adventure roll to sneak all the way up to him, you can do like a coup de grace. We're not going to make you roll initiative and stab over and over. I mean, realistically speaking, a dagger in your back or throat or whatever when they don't know you're there.
Yeah.
But you'd have to sneak up to him, and he's very alert. So we're going to need a great result, and I'm even tempted to say superb, but we'll go with great. I see a happy look on your face.
It's legendary.
Oh, well, legendary. So
Right.
he's just about to light another cigarette as he peers off into the landscaping of the landscaped yards that surround it. And suddenly a shadow looms up behind him, and you stab him in the neck and put your hand over his throat, and you're like, shh, 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 as he's like lowered down to the ground, and he twitches a few times. But then you can roll him into the bushes, and you guys can dash across. So, what do you think? There's like the balcony. There's all kinds of windows, and you could peek in, if you want. The first floor windows, though, you don't really see too much action or anybody around.
Where was that?
These great.
Where was that water coming from?
Well, that was emptying into the landscaped yards, like it was brown water from the castle, so it's like a little bit further back in the landscaped park-like area.
Okay, I was just thinking maybe the source of where it was coming from had some kind of if there was a way in through there or something.
Well, there would be a way in through there if you went back. The source of it's coming from collection reservoirs underneath the castle itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So like all the drainage for their brown water is going out and then watering the gardens, essentially. But the balconies, there are 4 balconies. The one on this side obviously has no guard. Probably want to do something in case one of them walks around a corner at some point.
Yeah.
Or the shift change comes or whatever.
Yeah, maybe we should shimmy on up to that
Or
balcony.
should we?
I got my climbing gear.
Should we at least try to move the body to where it's not?
We hid it in the
yeah,
bushes.
I kind of narrated. She like rolled it into the bushes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can scale up
Okay.
balcony.
And as I said, there are vines or trellises. You know, to be too careful about it. You don't have to roll. It's pretty easy. But you get up to the 3rd floor balcony. But you look inside. It's actually a fabulous study in here. With you don't see any like big art collection, but plenty. This place is big enough for. But there are pieces he has on the walls. He's got some Renoir, Monet, some beautiful things. And you see an old, chubby man with a big walrus mustache. And he's sitting in a chair, swirling some brandy in his hand. And sitting in a chair opposite him is Jan Donville. You realize he got off in Bucharest. If he had flown here from Bucharest, he could have easily beaten you. And so that's interesting. But they talk for a bit, and then they both laugh and stand up and shake hands and exit the room. And now that room is dark. Or it's not dark, but it's empty. The lamps are still on in there. Do you want to try to go in?
I think we should, and we should try to follow him.
Oh, and I should have pointed out that the old guy with the walrus mustache, I mean, that just looks like an older version of the file photo you saw in the file of Baron von Papen himself. But not a baron anymore under communism, but obviously still influential. And that's probably why there's Stasi here. So, considering all that, you got in pretty handily. But now what? Now you got to find this Alexander's breastplate and whatever else that he took out of. It's got to be stored here somewhere.
I hope we're not too late. I hope that the Baron, or his former Baron, and the Belgian not already. I mean, who knows? They could be. One of them could be wearing a breastplate underneath their clothes or something. No, but they might not even know the existence, or they might be. They might have. If the breastplate does contain the map as it's said to of Alexandria, they could have done a rubbing or something.
Possibly. What you guys want to? What do you want to do?
True.
Let's. We gotta go in. We can't stand out on this balcony, you know.
Well, that's true. That much at least is true. And luckily for you, I mean, the balcony doors, they were already slightly open, you know what I mean? So letting the night breeze in. So you sneak in. And I say, you're not interested in any of his paintings or anything like that are on the walls. But if you go through that room and you peek out the door, there's a central landing here, and you can see that each room that has a balcony is like a big room. And you can see the one just catty corner from you. You look inside, and in a corner you can see a mummy. You just figure that must be it, right? But there are some people down on the next level below talking. You can hear von Papen and Jan Donville talking. Oh, don't worry. Anyone comes here, we'll take care of it. I know where my bread is buttered, says von Papen. Yes, see that you do. And so you'd have to be quiet. Now it's carpeted floors. They're below you, so we just need a good adventure or combat roll. Stu Grant's not getting to use much of his scholarship. Constantly being forced to be adventurous, but your day will come.
Yeah, well, I will try to roll venture, which is good. But what do I need to get?
You needed a good.
Well, I rolled a fair. Oh, and then
Okay.
I have a -1, so Well, that's.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't know if that applies to every role, but I guess probably does.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so it's mediocre.
The rest of you guys, the other two guys, did you guys make it?
Easily.
I
yes.
did.
Easily. Well, you
Yeah,
get over
very
very
easily.
quietly, but right when you're about to get right, you're almost there, and there's this terrible creak, and you hear the people downstairs stop talking. So you don't have that much time. But when you guys look into the room, your attention is immediately drawn. There's a mummy in one corner, and there's like a marble lion here, but there's a display case behind glass with a beautiful gleaming breastplate.
That's gotta be it.
Oh, there's gotta be. There's so many other things in here, though, that really belong in a museum. Even some more medieval. There's like a great big Zweihander two-handed sword hanging on the wall, and statues of saints and other things. But all attention is drawn to this breastplate. It has it's intricate. It has a big Medusa on it, like a Medusa's head on the front of the breastplate. It's like battered too. I mean, it looks like it's seen battle and war. And
Don't
also
look at
in
it in the eyes. You'll
Yeah,
be
it's turned to-
petrified.
Yeah, there's also but there's a couple of other things in there too as you get up closer, and you've only got just a few seconds, but there's a golden goblet in that display case. Presumably these are things taken that belonged to Alexander. And then there's a ring with the Virginia sun symbol. It's a very distinctive sun symbol. It's across the ancient world, but make a scholarship roll to see what the heck that might be. And you only need a good one, though.
Okay. And I got it great.
Well, you realize that's the royal sign of that's the royal symbol of the royal house of Macedonia, which is where Alexander came from. And it's a really large symbol too. It's like 3-dimensional. It's almost bigger than the ring itself. It's a fabulous find. There's probably a signet ring or a seal ring and this decorative breastplate. Now you walk around the back. If you look around the back of the display case, you can see indeed on its back is scratched a number of intersecting lines in a grid-like system with various shapes at certain intersections of the lines. And you can hear some people coming up the stairs right now, but not running, not like angry, but like, did I hear something? Like walking back up the stairs. But there's shapes at the intersections of these lines. The shapes are a pyramid and a cube and an octagon and a dodecahedron and an icosahedron. The 5 perfect solids, the philosopher Pythagoras, also known as D4, D6, D8, D12, and D20. But it doesn't look exactly like a city map of ancient Alexandria, but you could see where it could be a stylized one. Mm-hmm. And now Alexander the Great, though, he's said to have designed the layout of the city himself. So your heart races a little bit. Your archaeologist's heart, perhaps his etchings, on the back of that breastplate, they seem informal. They're not part of the, perhaps etched by the very hand of Alexander himself. But by now you've only got seconds, and to get through here, you'd have to break the glass, or you don't have time to figure out how to get around it. Your footsteps coming. If you want to get it, it's get it and get out time, or hide and come back later time. Which do you think it's going to be? Yes, no.
Get it and get out.
I am certain I must have heard something. You can hear from the top of the stairway down the hall.
And maybe grab a ring and the goblet, too.
Yes, then you hear the crackle of a two-way radio, and you hear Baron von Papen's voice. Please send some agents to the top floor. Now, looking outside, you're not on the same side of the house anymore. You're on the back side of the house where the helicopter pad was. And there's like a Stasi agent down there, but he's here. He raises his walkie-talkie to his ear and then starts running towards the house. So that's the situation you find yourself in. What do you want to do? Smash the glass?
Yep, let's smash and grab and go out the balcony and
Okay, there's a smash and
down
grab.
the side of the building.
Smash!
Smash and grab.
Yeah.
Grab that ring and that goblet, too.
Yeah. Mon Dieu, it is them! It is them! You hear Jan Donville's yelling from down the hall. And
I've got the breastplate. I'm not saying that to them. I'm saying it to my partners. And can I try to? I don't know what it is. Can I try to put it on? I don't know.
Well, there's the straps aren't on it. There's no leather straps. You can hold it in front of you though. And and you said you take the cup and the ring too.
Yes.
Yeah, you grab that. Okay, now you got to run though, and now there's like shadows in the doorway, and Jan Donville himself. You see him peer around the edge. What are you gonna do? Out the window? You said out the balcony.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, out the balcony.
All right. Now you do got to roll to
And
climb
over the
down.
side.
Now you're in a freaking hurry. So let's have a good result. If you want to jump all the way down, I'd say great, but I don't think you'd try to do that. We're gonna assume that you could get down with a good result on a combat or adventure roll.
I got a great.
Oh yeah, gracefully.
Well, Mr. Smith is an idiot, so he's going to jump.
He jumps and he needs a great.
And he gets good.
And he takes a checkmark box of damage off the wound chart there as you hurt your ankle. How about you, Stu Grant, Black Cavendish?
Luckily, I got a great result.
But now, of course, there's alarms going off, and you can hear more Stasi agents yelling, and, man, you're on foot, and, gosh, is there any quick way to get out of here that you can think of?
Helicopter.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can anyone...
Didn't we say
Can
someone
anyone
could
fly a
fly it?
helicopter?
Is that my husband, my dear husband?
Oh,
I'm
yes.
afraid
Or was that,
I don't know the. I mean, I'm intelligent enough I could figure out, but I would have to assume that our military friend, Mr. Smith, would be capable of flying a machine such as this.
He is. Now they're out. They run onto the balcony now. Two Stasi agents start firing at you guys from the balcony. Where do you run? You want to go try to fire up that helicopter, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, let's run straight for the helicopter.
Yeah.
Agreed, yes.
All right. He starts rush for it, and you guys follow. Meanwhile, you guys aren't actively, defending, so I'm just going to roll to see if these guys can hit you. The two Stasi agents who are already up there don't. Another one runs around the corner, and, it's going to hit one of you, so Lynn is going to be the minus, Ryan's going to be the plus, Goody's going to be the blank. Oh! Agent 13, you tagged in the thigh with a bullet. And since that was not an opposed roll, you're just going to take 2 marks off the ye olde box because you weren't actively defending. You're just trying to... You guys hop onto the helicopter, still fresh, and of course you know how to get it going, and some they act like they're going to spray the helicopter, and then Baron von Papen puts his hand out, and starts yelling at the guy. Looks like they're going to shoot the helicopter. And you fire that thing up. But they run, and 2 of the Stasi agents try to jump up onto the skids of the helicopter, but it's just a little bit too high. And you guys take off and fly into the night. Now, Mr. Smith can tell you this helicopter, the MIL Mi-1, it really only has a range of about 270 some odd miles, but that's enough to get you into West Germany, right? Like, get you on the other side of the Iron Curtain. And so we assume you zoom off, and it's not long. It doesn't seem that long, and it's not like no Soviet MiGs come chasing you or anything like that at the moment, but you fly west as fast as you can, and eventually this radio crackle comes in, and it's speaking German, but it almost sounds like it's German with an American accent. So it's Konrad, Key Station, Hanover to unidentified aircraft heading 2906, altitude 10,000. Exit the Bravo immediately. What do you guys do? Of course, these are good guys talking to you here, so that makes it a little easier.
Yeah. Well, I'm flying, right? So
right.
Shit. I should have planned for this. can I just radio back? Unable, Nordo, please give vectors to the nearest field.
Veer 2 points north-northwest on route transmitted on 1290 kilohertz, center West Berlin Air Corridor, approach Celi Air Base, descent path Alpha Barrack 299, over. That was all complete gobbledygook, by the way, but they're trying to bring you into Celi Air Force Base, a United States facility in West Germany. And so you get on that bearing, and indeed, you land there at the military base, and there's an armed security team waiting. Well, you got a lot of explaining to do, says the officer, and that's where we'll just go ahead and wrap up tonight's adventure. And so we'll see what happens next time on Top Men.
Hey everybody, if you like our podcast, don't forget to leave us a good rating and or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or wherever you're able. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Goonies_world, and check out our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.